My name's Kat, this is Kayleigh.
Hello.
Hello, and this is the hat. The famous Stone Sour mascot hat, which came on the tour with us in last year, 2010.
I can't wear that anymore because it's going to choke me out. I'm a bit fatter since 2006, is it? 2006?
Yeah, it was born on the, was it July 2006 when we won a place at the Stone Sour Come Whatever May listening party in London, and we thought we'd buy a random hat.
We went to a cafe in, is it Leicester Square?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Rainforest
an
Cafe.
environmental rainforest cafe, and for some reason we bought this before we went in, and I don't know what happened after that, to be honest. It was all a bit strange.
So,
bizarre.
Yeah, and Corey and James and Josh were there, and they met the hat, and they've also signed it. Jim signed it. No, Josh signed it there. If you can see that. James has signed it there, and Corey has signed it under the patch, which isn't ideal.
We sewed the patch on a couple after we'd left. We got a patch free. Cat had a patch spare, so we sort of sewed it on and made it officially the Stone Sour hat.
Yes, and since then, every single gig we've been to, the hat has been with us.
Every single Stone Sour gig. It's a Stone Sour hat only. It doesn't go to any other gigs. It doesn't like any other bands.
No, and luckily we were able to meet the band a couple of times during the tour, and Roy has also signed it now.
He's just scribbled on it.
And Sean, as well, the bassist, was introduced to the hat, which he wasn't at the listening party.
So they've all now met the hat.
Yes, and they very kindly signed us a patch to go on the hat at some point.
So which way around that goes? That way.
That way.
Jim took up the middle of it, pretty much the whole of it, and he signed it on the wrong side as well. But you know, beggars can't be choosers.
He has his own way. We decided to go on the tour and do as many dates as we can, just to make the most of the fact that the band were here in the country, and because we never know quite what the future holds, we thought as we can afford it, we should do it.
And because we deserved a holiday.
Yes, exactly. This is our holiday. A lot of people forget that, you know, people work full time and it's often hard to get time off, so when something decent comes along you kind of want to make the most of it. So.
Yeah, not go to Spain or Ibiza. Or
yeah, exactly. We chose to go stand in the rain in Newcastle instead.
Yeah.
So that's how we roll. But we decided to go to the Birmingham show because we can drive to it, which is always a bonus. We didn't have to stay in a hotel, we could just come home straight away after it. So after Birmingham we had I think it was a couple of days off, or a day off, and then we went to both London shows. I went to both of them.
I went to one because I was working on Halloween, busiest night of the year and all that.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go to that one. It was unfortunate.
No, but we were going to a couple of other gigs together just to make the most of it, really, weren't we? So.
Yeah, it was raining when we got to London the first gig, wasn't it? And it was quite miserable, so we didn't end up queuing as early as we had done before. And we were a bit. It was the furthest back we were. It was at the London show, wasn't it?
True,
we were quite far back.
We were a bit fed up then, weren't we? Because we knew we'd only got the one gig. We wanted to make the most of it. But,
yeah, so
we were both a bit miserable that day. It was
that probably wasn't the best. That was probably the. If I had to rank the gigs, that was probably sort of on the bottom. I think just because of how close we were.
It seemed to be a huge Avenged Sevenfold crowd that night as well.
Yeah.
Stone Sour was a bit understated that night, I felt.
Yes.
Because I think that was the night that Avenged Sevenfold were actually headlining.
They were.
In Birmingham, Stone Sour headlined.
Yes, they did. Yeah, so
it was a bit more of a
swap. Yeah. Okay, made sense.
I think that was it.
Yes. So that one was all. I don't really remember that much about that gig.
That was it, because Stone Sour must have been on first, because we left after Stone Sour to get home.
We did.
Home at a decent time.
We did.
Yeah. So there was swings and roundabouts there. We got home at a decent time, but it wasn't the greatest gig.
Yeah.
So after that, we went to Newcastle, which we decided to go to because we'd looked at sort of travel costs and hotel costs, and they all seemed quite reasonable, didn't they?
Yeah, it's straight up and down on the train. Even if you wanted to drive from where I live, it's straight up the A1. It's not that difficult, 4 or 5 hour drive, but train nice and easy, relaxed. Don't need to worry about driving. Straight there, and it's a nice city because I've got family living there anyway. So my granddad and people like that. So we knew if we got proper stuck at any point, then we'd be able to call them at some point.
Yeah, it's always nice to have that security blanket as well. But of course, before we left, we made sure our parents knew where we were going, and we had sort of contingency plans if anything went too wrong. So
yeah, even though we are 24,
yeah,
25,
I mean we're adults, we're sensible, but it's still good to know.
It's nice to know where you. Let you know. Let
someone needs to know where you are.
Yeah,
especially when you're all over the country, like we were. So
yeah, pretty much.
When we got to Newcastle, we stayed overnight, didn't we? And then the next morning we headed over to Leeds for the Leeds show. which was quite good actually. It was quite a short train ride.
Yeah, I think the Newcastle one, when we got there, we saw the venue and how small the venue was in Newcastle. It was tiny compared to some of the ones we got to. And obviously I think Stone Sour were playing first that night as well, weren't they?
Can't remember.
Yeah, they were, because we left and we spoke to Stone Sour afterwards while
That's
Avenged
it.
were
Yep,
playing.
that's it.
Yeah, so we went and sort of went to the hotel real quick. We saw how small the queue was, and then we kind of legged it back.
Yeah.
And queue for a while. It was miserable, horrible and wet and cold.
Was that where they signed the patch?
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
But then we went to Burger King, because you have to eat.
Yeah, we went there mainly to get sheltered, didn't we?
Yeah,
Because at that
in
point
there.
it was really raining
And
hard.
then when we
were
came
feeling
out,
quite poorly.
of Burger King, I said, let's just go and have a quick lap round the back, didn't I?
Yeah,
and Corey was there. Yeah, and that's the first time we met Corey
Yeah.
on the tour, I think,
And,
isn't it? Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
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 It was,
And we showed him the hat that had come with us, and he was really excited.
Yes.
And he actually put it on and wore it for a photo. He took it straight out of my hands. I didn't even have to say anything.
yeah.
He was like, "I'm having that, thank you."
Yeah, pretty much. So yeah, so we did that, and then we went and watched the show, and then because Stone Sour were playing first, we
So
didn't fancy staying for Avenged.
No, that's it. As soon as they'd finished, we made our exit and went around the back, and the band were there again. So
Yeah,
we
Jim
had
was
to
there,
chat
wasn't he,
with
for
them
a
quite
while? Jim was there for quite a while, wasn't he? He was there first, and then Corey and Roy eventually turned up, and Josh, and Sean was the last out. I don't know what he was doing.
He
in
took
there.
a very long time.
He took forever, and we wanted him to come out because he had to meet the hat.
Yes,
he was the only
as
one
I
at that
say.
point that had not seen the hat.
Yeah.
So we had to talk to him. We had a good chat for about an hour or so, I think.
Yeah, we
wasn't
were
it?
with them for quite a while, which is really nice because it kind of makes you appreciate like how much effort goes into these tours. And I think when you just go to one show, you don't appreciate.
Yeah, well, you see the roadies, the same people
Yeah.
moving things in, moving things out,
And
packing
you see
stuff
them
up.
setting it up, and there's massive trucks, massive vans, lorries, everything, just
And
dragging
you've got-
all this stuff into this tiny venue, squashing it all in, and then you've just got to see them take it all out at the end of the day.
And then making sure you get all 5 band members for each band, like 5 for Stone Sour, 5 for Avenged, however many there is, and however many there were for Hell Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. There's a lot of
Getting
people
them all.
involved, and I think you kind of take that for granted when you just go to the one show. When you see it all, and you've done travelling yourself, you know how far away these cities are from each other, and to sit on a bus doing it must be.
That's what I said to Roy as well. I think at the time I said to
Yeah.
him, he didn't realise how much effort goes into it, really, just to put on a show for 45 an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's it.
for
And
people.
I think doing this tour has really kind of made me appreciate how expensive it is and what goes into bringing a band over here. So not only is it, we got to see our favourite band 7 times, but we've got a bigger understanding of the industry and the work that goes into it. So
Yeah.
I found that quite interesting.
Yeah, and then we went home, well, not home, we went back to the Travel Lodge.
Yeah. That was off to Newcastle.
To dry out, which was...
Yeah.
I still went dry by the next day. I don't think all my clothes were wet.
We were starting to feel a bit poorly at this point, just tired and ill. And then we went to Leeds, as I say. We got up and
train straight there, wasn't it?
Yep, that's about an hour away by train from Newcastle. Found a hotel again.
Easy.
Really easy. It's all been really easy, to be honest, because we managed to get really cheap taxi fares. Everything's quite close together. But to make sure we got, legitimate cabs, we went from the train station every time.
Yeah.
Because they've got organised transport there, so...
And always make sure you have a little bit of cash on you.
Yes,
exactly.
exactly.
That's what you learnt.
That's it.
A little bit of cash, otherwise you can't pay for the taxi.
That's it. Cause,
just a little bit, not too much.
If you rely too much on your debit card, you don't have the taxi fares.
I'm not saying walk around with $1,000 in your pocket.
Well, no, exactly.
But, a few quid here and there, pay for the taxi.
Yeah, always make sure.
And a Burger King.
Yeah, you need to eat as well, because we kept forgetting. So.
Yeah.
No, but Leeds was really good. That was again quite a small venue.
And the queue was quite small too, wasn't it? We got quite close there. Got some good pictures.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as we arrived there, we went straight and queued up, didn't we?
Oh,
We didn't really see much of the cities.
That was the gig when you got the set list, wasn't it?
Yes.
And when I got my pick, which is I think is still in here somewhere.
Yeah, and we were right at the front on the barrier for the whole show at Leeds. And the roadies and the security are really nice people, and they deserve every bit of respect that you can possibly give them. And they very kindly ripped off on the set list and gave it to me. And Jim threw Kayleigh a pic.
Yeah, I was filming Jim like this with my phone. So I was filming him, I don't know why, but I was like this. Just like watching him through my phone. And the next thing I saw, I could see, I've actually got a video of him doing it, which is funny.
Yeah.
I've got a video of him, he sees me and he sort of went like that, flicked this pic out. And
Again, we had the hat with us, so every time they see the hat, they know it's us. And
so I'm holding my phone like this, and I see him flick the pic, and I just put my hand out like that, and caught the pic, and then he found that quite funny, and he laughed and carried on. And
it was skills, mate, holding a camera and
that is the pic.
Cool.
And it's one of my prized possessions, and that video as well still makes me laugh. Good skills. That's it. Good coordination.
So there you go. So you do get little perks and things like that, but I think
It's a bit of a personal touch, I think,
Yeah.
when they see you and stuff,
No,
and you know, and make if you get to the front and stuff, and there's a bit of personal interaction and stuff like that. And obviously they've sort of seen us a couple of times on the show.
But I just think it's important for people not to go with that expectation that, you know, if you run into the band member, there's a bonus. You shouldn't go expecting or hoping that you do, because if you don't, obviously then you're really disappointed and it can ruin it. So
yeah,
if you do, brilliant. If not, you know, you've got to go because you love the music, and you've got to go because you love travelling, or you know, whatever, and you want to see, meet more people, because of course we met loads of friends, didn't we?
Yeah, we did, yeah. We can keep it together when you meet them as well, like...
Yeah, that's it. We saw a number of people, like, draping themselves over them. It's really uncomfortable.
Especially when their wives and other halves and that are there as well. It's sort of like, you know, they're not public property. They are people at the end of the day, and some days they'll have a shit day, and some days they'll, you know...
You've got to respect their, you know, their distance, and, you know, they're just regular people, really. I mean, if you get the chance to speak to them, you'll soon find out for yourself.
If you just think about, if you go to a gig and you're at the front and you come out afterwards and you're like, oh, I'm really sore, I'm really tired, and you go home and you go to bed, these people, they get on a bus, travel, get up and do it the next day and keep doing it. And if you just think about what, if you'd be in the mood to do that when you woke up after a pretty heavy gig.
That's it. Especially living off pizza as well, because they don't have the best diet.
They're Dominoes. Lots of Dominoes on the Stone Sour bus, yeah.
Stacks.
I could smell it as well. I was like,
oh, yeah, it was quite nice.
Here's a pizza.
So, but we went home after Leeds though, didn't we? Cause,
yeah. We had a couple of days,
because I think they had a couple of shows in Manchester and we didn't get tickets for them, so we came
home. To go back to work for a couple of days, I think.
So the last show we went to was actually in Brighton, which was quite a trek for us both, but we were able to just get the train into London and then from London to Brighton, so it was quite easy to do again.
I've never been to Brighton and I've always wanted to go, so that was...
It was really nice because the venue's right on the seafront and I love the coast, so that was really nice.
And we checked them, we booked...
The weather was good.
The travel lodge we booked was literally round the corner from there, because we Google mapped every single thing before we went just to see if the hotels we were booking into were within a decent distance to make a taxi ride feasible, or to make a walk feasible. You don't want to stay on the wrong side of the city. Especially a city as big as like Newcastle that you don't know exactly where you're going. You don't want to be paying 15 odd quid for a taxi when you could have got a...
I also found that in most of these cities there's one or two travel lodges, so you've got to make sure... or whichever hotel or train you go with, so you've got to make sure that you stay in the right one. Otherwise you're looking at, you know, an hour's commute to a venue and it's just not ideal.
Yeah, and the travel lodge at Brighton was literally right around the corner.
Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it? And we got there about an hour before we were allowed to check in. So we were carrying all our stuff around, we just thought we'd do a lap round and just see, you know, what the area was like really, and we ran into Kayeigh again.
Yeah, I remember that. Do you remember? We sort of... I
didn't even see him. I was just like wandering around, looking around, and he was just like grabbed us.
We were talking, like he was talking to a group of people, and we'd told him and a few of the others, the other guys in Stone Sour, that we were going to be going to a few tours and stuff, a few of the gigs on the tour, and they were like, "That's cool." So I thought I'd tap Kayeigh on the shoulder and said, "Oh, we made it."
Yeah.
And he went, "Hey," and sort of grabbed us and a big hug. And then he, excuse my French, he went, "Where's the fucking hat?"
Yeah, straight away.
We had to get the hat out.
It was packed in our luggage, and he demanded to see it.
Like, where's the fucking hat? And I was like, "It's here, it's here." And he's like, "Yes," like that. So yeah, that was good. So that was, you know, made us quite happy.
Yeah, that was really nice. That was.
And so
obviously he just cared that, you know, we'd gone to all this travelling and that we'd arrived safely and stuff. So that was really nice of him.
Yeah, and then we went and put our stuff in, didn't we? And then went and queued up for a bit and managed to get to the front again.
We met a couple of people that we still keep in touch with. Like, beauty of Facebook, of course, because you don't want to be giving people your your private information. So the beauty of Facebook or Twitter is that, you know, it's kind of like a vessel to, you know, providing contact information to people without giving too much of yourself away.
Yeah.
So
we met a couple of people there. That was a good gig.
So yeah, it was really nice. We got up to the front on that as well.
And we
filmed it for the DVD, so there's going to be footage of the hat on the Stone Sour DVD when that comes out.
Yeah. So that was about it, really.
So yeah, that was our adventure around the UK for Stone Sour and Avenged Sevenfold.